Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our town hall meeting this evening. It's so good to see you all here. This is an excellent opportunity for the citizens of Everman, also for the management of Everman, for you all to get together and talk, communicate, learn from each other. So glad to have you all here. Let's open the meeting with asking the Lord's blessing on our time together. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to praise your name, to thank you for this opportunity that we have to come together here in the city of Everman to find ways to improve this city, to move this city forward. Father, we thank you for all those that serve this city in the various capacities that they do. We ask you to bless them, guide them, and direct them. And we thank you for the citizens, particularly the ones that have shown up tonight, that are here to help, to make a difference, to take this city forward. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Good evening. Wow, that was horrible. Good evening. This is honestly one of my favorite times of the year. This is one of my favorite events because it really gives us an opportunity to showcase what the city's doing, what we're trying to work on, and it gives us an opportunity to really engage with many of you. Much of what we're going to talk about tonight is discussed frequently amongst the council and council meetings, but this is the one time where we kind of really bring it all together in one, and it gives you a great opportunity to get a summary of what's going on in the community, what we're working on, what our vision is, and we want to get that input back from you, and that's really important. So, to start off, my name's Craig Spencer. I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the city manager for the city of Everman. I have several introductions, and I know it's going to take a few minutes to get around, but I definitely want to introduce several different people, and I want to start with our council. First, I want to recognize Mayor Ray Richardson standing there in the back. Mayor. And then our Mayor Pro Tem, Miss Susan Mackey, if you don't mind standing so everybody can see you. Sorry. I see City Council Place 2 is here, Miss Carolyn Renfro. And then City Council Place 3, Miss Johnny May Allen. Am I missing any other council members that are here? All right, perfect. I do see the president of our Planning and Zoning Commissions here, Richard Israris. Richard. And then I want to take a minute to introduce our incredible staff around the room. And I'm going to start this way and go all the way around. I'll tell you, I'm very blessed to have an absolutely amazing staff here at the City of Everman that work really, really hard each and every day to push this city forward and try to get things done and get things addressed. So Jennifer Nateros is right here at the city administration table. She's our director of human resources. And then sitting next to her is Miss Susan Helgeson. Susan is my right hand. She's our assistant city manager and our director of finance. We work quite a bit together. And when it comes to budget, she is by all means the queen of budget. So she is the number cruncher on the backside. She works endless nights putting together budget proposals, working the numbers through, and getting it prepared for council. So she's certainly a key player when it comes to budget. Sitting at utility billing and is also our municipal court administrator, Miss Edna Martinez. Over here at this table, we have Public Works, and I already know. He's asked me. He said, I'm going to be the busy table tonight, aren't I? Yes. So let me introduce you to our Parks and Streets Superintendent, Mr. Rodolfo. And then with him is Fernando, also with Public Works. Fernando, how long have you been with the city? 16 years with the city of Everman, so he's been here a little while. Back here at the back, probably going to be our second busiest table this evening, is Corporal Scott Dabbs. He is our code enforcement officer for the city of Everman. And then I want to introduce the best animal control officer that we could have ever found and have here, and that's Mr. Ray Rentschler back there in the back with Municipal Animal Services, which we're going to talk a little bit about Municipal Animal Services tonight. Sitting next to him is actually the sergeant over Animal Services and Code, and that is Sergeant James Robinson. Over here at the fire table, Facebook Live famous Fire Chief Landon Watley. He's our fire chief and fire marshal. He also oversees all of our permitting process. So if you have any questions related to permits within the city, he's your go-to guy. Sitting over here at the police table is my right hand for the police department. That's Assistant Chief Al Brooks. And then here at the Tarrant County Regional Communications table, which is our dispatch center, is our Director of Communications, Miss Beverly Patton. So we've tried tonight, what we're going to do is we've tried to bring all of the key players here directly to you to have them available so you can have that face-to-face conversation with the responsible party for what matters to you most. Some of you are here maybe for animal services. That's a passion of yours. Some of you are here about streets. Some may be here about development. Some may be here about taxes. So we've tried to bring everybody here at one spot so you can talk about your concerns tonight directly with those people that have the influence and the ability to take your concern and do something with it. A lot of times at city council meetings, and the council will tell you this, is we can't discuss things that aren't necessarily on the agenda. And people often come to council meetings and they want to express a concern and they want that instant satisfaction right then and there, but that's just not something that the law allows us to be able to discuss and have a conversation about. And sometimes those conversations fall off, right? It's talked about at a council meeting. Staff may take some direction with it. We may have a couple of follow-on conversations, but as a citizen, when you engage in a conversation, you take time out of your day to come to a meeting, you want an answer right then and there. Our hope is that we can provide you those answers tonight. That's why we do this, and that's why it's so invaluable to us. So the question is going to be, what matters to you most? And for everybody, it's always something different. The way that this meeting is structured is I'm going to give you a presentation, and I'm going to talk about essentially the 30,000-foot view. I'm going to cover a lot of the major projects that are going on. You may be interested in one topic, the person sitting next to you may be interested in another. If we started taking questions, we would probably be here for hours and hours and hours. Some of you are going to sit through questions or topics that you may not necessarily care for. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 30,000-foot view presentation of what's going on here in the city, and then we're going to break. And everybody, you can go to whichever table you'd like. I'll be happy to be here until tomorrow morning if that's what it takes to get your questions answered and to get your feedback. We'll be here for as long as we need to engage with you and get the information back with you. One thing that has been a common discussion, and I've had the pleasure now of serving as a city manager. This is my 4th year now as a city manager. One thing that's been a common discussion amongst management and council has been property taxes. That's been one of the biggest things. I don't think it's a secret that for the longest time, the city of Everman has had the highest property tax rate in all of Tarrant County. That's not something the city has ever been proud of. That's not something we should be proud of, and that's a direction that I got from council almost immediately after taking the position I took was we want our tax rate reduced below $1 in 5 years. And this past year, after 3 years, we were able to get to $1.03. We are almost there. We're able to beat that goal, and we're going to keep driving that down. The challenge is for city management is how do we continue to drive the tax rate down while also improving the services and responding to the needs and the requests of the citizens that we serve? How do we fix the streets? How do we improve the fire department? How do we improve public safety all the way around? How do we increase the staffing we need to be able to achieve the projects that everybody wants us to achieve while also reducing property taxes? That's a heavy lift. And so we've had to do a lot of self-evaluation. I talk about this each year. This is the 3rd year that we've been able to do this town hall, and I talk about this each year. I think we've gotten very good about taking a good, hard look at where we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. And we've done a pretty good job at that, I think. And in the first year, one of the things that we identified was that Everman was practically on an island. We were not very good about collaborating with other entities. We were not building partnerships. We were not taking opportunities and advantages of opportunities for grant funding. We were missing out on a lot by isolating ourselves. And so we had to find ways to build those partnerships up. And we worked really hard on that and have been able to build some pretty incredible partnerships over the last few years that I think many of you have probably seen, and you may not realize it, but you've seen the benefit of those partnerships come out. Some of the street improvement projects that we've been able to achieve, some of the consolidation projects, some things that maybe you don't see or don't realize is the improvement that we've been able to make with emergency services communication and the increase in the fire service that we're able to provide, things that you don't necessarily pay attention to day to day. I don't think anybody in here ever turns on their water faucet at home and instantly goes, oh, thank God for municipal government. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Thank God I paid my taxes so I have water. Nobody goes to work in the morning and thinks, oh, thank God I paid my taxes so I could drive to a job that pays me money. That's not what anybody thinks. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that most people just don't even have an opportunity to realize, and we're trying to do our best to improve that service each and every day. So through these partnerships, we've been able to grow our organization, and through growth of our organization, we've been able to turn around and reduce our property taxes while also improving the service. And a lot of this has been achievable through regionalization. And I'm going to talk about a few regionalization projects tonight, because that's been a big effort. And I see that Mayor Boardingham, sorry, I'm going to throw you under a bus. I didn't mean to. But I see Mayor Boardingham walked in just a minute ago from the city of Forest Hill. And the city of Forest Hill has been a phenomenal partner when we talk about regionalization, when we talk about our efforts moving forward. Some of our challenges have been the exact same challenges that they faced. So it's made a world of difference to be able to come together with like-minded cities and like-minded individuals and say, hey, what can we do to improve not just you, but us? What can we do to improve everybody? So I want to give you an example of why regionalization works. Regionalization, or what regionalization really is. One of the examples I want to use is our dispatch center. That's been the biggest regionalization project we've had, and so far it's been incredibly successful for the cities. You take one organization, you take one city, and you calculate 4 employees, that may cost you $400,000. These are not exact numbers, by the way. I'm just giving you a sample. $400,000 for employee costs, salaries, benefits, uniforms, equipment, training, workers' comp, all that stuff goes into it. Computer equipment, $100,000. Communication equipment, $150,000 a year. The infrastructure, $200,000 a year. Suddenly, we've got a $850,000 budget for a communication center that's serving a population of 10,000. Well, lo and behold, our neighbors are doing the exact same thing. They have 4 employees. They have the same computer infrastructure cost. They have the same equipment costs. They have the same employee costs. They're serving about the same population that we are. Well, lo and behold, there's another neighbor too that's nearby that's doing the exact same thing. And suddenly, all together, the 3 of us combined are paying over $2.5 million to provide a service to our citizens. So through regionalization, what we've been able to do is we're able to regionalize and bring all that together. We're able to share infrastructure cost. We're able to work together and develop policies that allow us to improve our service all the way around. And now we've gone from having 4 employees. We can probably achieve the same goal with 8 employees, costing us $800,000. The computer equipment, now it's shared. It's a shared infrastructure, so that cost is reduced. Communications equipment's reduced. Infrastructure is reduced because it's all shared. We're not having to duplicate what we're paying for. And now we've got a total of $1.5 million. And that's about what our dispatch center looks like. We've been able to reduce expenditures combined amongst all the participating cities by almost $1 million by regionalizing. And that's been incredible. And we're serving the same population. So I do want to talk about our dispatch center for a minute. Tarrant County Regional Communications, we started this project back in 2022 is when we started exploring the option, and we went live with our dispatch center in 2023. We are now the home for Tarrant County Regional Communications. The City of Everman administers it. The employees work for the City of Everman. And we work with all of our partner cities. We provide services for 9 different fire departments. We dispatch for 9 different fire departments. We also work with 15 mutual aid fire departments. We provide dispatching service for 3 different police departments and cover all 212 square miles of Tarrant County. Dispatch Center also reaches into Johnson, Parker, and Wise County. Interesting fact, our dispatch center now serves more agencies than any other dispatch center in Tarrant County. So it's been truly remarkable. In 2023, our dispatch center handled over 94,000 calls. We have a $1.4 million operating budget as of this past budget, 14 full-time employees and multiple part-time PRN employees. Beverly serves as our Director of Communications, and she's done a phenomenal job. It's got a pretty unique structure to it. So when you talk about regionalization, now we're talking about partnerships, and one of the struggles with partnerships is always, can we get everybody on the same page? Can we get everybody to agree? And that's been a struggle, and that's been a pinch point for many other entities that have tried to do regionalization. Somebody always wants to maintain control. There's always that one that wants to maintain control. And so what we did with this and working with our partners at Forest Hill and Tarrant County Fire Alarm is we created 2 advisory boards, a fire chief advisory board and a police chief advisory board. Our Director of Communication actually reports to those advisory boards. Those advisory boards develop the policies, procedures for the dispatch center across the board. They're the ones dictating how it is. So every city participating in this has a voice at the table, an equal voice at the table. It's not Everman saying, oh, it's got to be our way. It's an equal voice at the table. From there, she has a fire dispatch supervisor and a police dispatch supervisor underneath her, and then we have fire communication specialist and police communication specialist who take care of dispatching the appropriate public safety entities. Another regionalization project that we did that's proving to be successful is our municipal animal services. So we've had some struggle when it relates to animal control in the city of Everman for a long time. Lo and behold, Forest Hill had some struggles too. And through conversation, as we're conversing about our shared struggles, we were able to talk about, hey, what happens if we regionalized animal shelters or animal services and brought that together? And we tried it for a year. It certainly has not gone without some bumps. This has been a little bit more of a challenge than maybe the dispatch center was. There's been some struggles here, but it is proving to be a great model. And it is proving to be very helpful to our citizens and to the animals that we are taking care of. So our municipal animal services, Ray Rentschler back there in the back, he's our lead animal control officer. I like to brag on him a little bit because I don't know how on earth we were able to get him or steal him, but I'm going to fight anybody that ever comes and tries to take him from us. I don't want him to go anywhere. He's been phenomenal. He brings a lot to the table here at Everman that we've never had before. Not only does he have a lot of experience in animal services, but he's also a certified instructor. He travels all over the country teaching other animal control officers. He has a lot of experience and a lot of connections, and he's just able to really engage with people better than anybody that we've had before. He's able to really build those networks. And when we talk about dealing with animals, networks are important. Networks are very important. We have 2 full-time animal control officers and 2 part-time kennel technicians currently, and then we've got 3 registered volunteers, one of which is here, Miss Anna. Our volunteers do a ton of work for us at the shelter. Ray has bragged about that both to the Animal Control Advisory Board as well as to City Council about how our animal services would really not be able to function the way it does if it was not for all the incredible work that our volunteers do. And I say that to also add, we need more. We're looking for more opportunities. We're looking for more help. With this regionalization, we've been able to increase our overall live release rate between the 2 cities. It has been a significant increase between the 2 cities on our overall live release rate. We've been able to improve public involvement and increase the quality of life and animal well-being. One of the problems is we still don't like putting down animals when we have an issue. And that's a struggle. Why is it a struggle? Our shelter is undersized. Our shelter has been undersized, and we have to grow it. That's something that has been recognized by the Animal Control Advisory Board. It's been recognized by the City Council. And just a couple months ago, City Council gave me the orders and direction to move forward on pursuing grant funding and other funding options for a brand new shelter. So that's been a project that we have been working on. Through that, we've been able to engage with contractors on designing concept designs of a shelter. We're looking to triple our capacity for what we currently have so that we can house more animals. We also want to put it at a different location, one that's more accessible, one that's more visible to the public. If we want people to adopt animals from our shelter, we should be easily identifiable and accessible. And so that's been a topic of conversation as well. So we've been putting in a lot of work on this. Currently, the design has come back between 1.5 and 1.8 million. Staff is working along with Staff is working along with the Animal Control Advisory Board to file the appropriate grant funds, grant application, hoping that we can get this funded. We believe we've already gotten pre-approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to apply for a 75% grant where essentially they would be responsible for 75%, the city would be responsible for 25%. That's going to put that in the realm of feasibility for us, allowing us to move forward with this project. So we're pretty excited about this, working pretty hard at getting this project pushed forward. But again, we need volunteers. If animal services is something that interests you, I want to strongly encourage you when we're done here to visit with Ray in the back. Go by and talk with him. Many people, I think, when they think that we need volunteers, they think that we're looking for people to come by and do physical labor. There are so many ways that you can help animals without even having to leave your home. Networking, Facebook, social media, reaching out, making phone calls, soliciting for donations and sponsorships, working with the rescue groups that we've got relationships with to try to get these animals out. The more that we can get out, the better. The last regionalization project I want to talk about is our library service consolidation project. So about the same time that we were consolidating with dispatch and municipal animal services, we started having to address some concerns related to our library. And that was the fact that the city was expending a pretty good amount of money, and the usage of the library was very, very low. We were struggling to be able to increase funding there to provide services that our citizens really wanted. The additional, technology that was desired. We were also on the brink of losing accreditation just because it required more funding to be able to maintain accreditation. So we were trying to figure out how do we improve library services without increasing the tax burden that's placed on our taxpayers. And so we solicited a partnership with the Forest Hill Library District, and if you have not been to the Forest Hill Public Library, you need to go by and visit. It is a beautiful facility. They have an amazing program there. They have a lot of opportunities for you if you like to dance classes. If you want to learn how to dance, they have GED programs. They do a summer reading program. There are a lot of opportunities there and a lot of events that we would not otherwise be able to provide. And we were able to do this through a subsidy. So the city of Everman actually now pays the Forest Hill Library District a $20,000 subsidy to make sure that all residents in the city of Everman can go and get your library card at no cost to you. It doesn't cost you anything, just like it would if the library was still here. We wanted to make sure that you were receiving greater services without impacting anybody in the pocketbook. Increased resources, programs, events, activities, and more. And it was also, this move allowed us to reduce our overall expenditures to the city of Everman and allowed for us to increase staffing in other departments that were needed. So as the city's growing, we're dealing with more. We've got these regional collaborations going on. We've got an increase in staffing. We were identifying areas where we were weak. We were needing folks to help us out in the accounting department, help us out in records, help us out in other clerical type positions. So we could have either added additional funding to our budget, which would have not allowed us to reduce the tax rate to pay for these positions. But through this library partnership, we were actually able to reallocate these positions over to those needs without having any negative impact on the tax rate at all. So it's really solved a lot of problems for us on the funding piece and has also increased the services that residents are able to receive through our library. It's also allowed for the current facility to be used for additional office space. The city's growing, we're running out of office space. Any of you that may know, years ago, well, I shouldn't say years ago, just a couple of years ago, City Council used to meet inside City Hall. We've outgrown City Hall. We had to convert the City Council chambers into office space, and now City Council meets over here. Well, our Public Works building is also facing some not so safe conditions for the employees, and so we had to find another place to put them. We were trying to cram them inside City Hall. We had desk almost on top of desk, and we're running out of room. When a regionalization of dispatch occurred, we converted an old training room into the dispatch center. That's actually a pretty impressive dispatch center, but it lost real estate. We've just outgrown the buildings that we're in. And the city wasn't looking to take out another bond or do anything to build another large complex just yet. So we needed to identify an additional office space, and this space was approved to be used for that, overall saving us money and allowing us to achieve our goals. Some of the achievements that we've been able to accomplish in fiscal year 24 was the largest total tax rate reduction in over 20 years. That was a pretty high mark for us. Currently, we have the lowest total tax rate in over 14 years. That's also a pretty big mark for us. We're going in the right direction as far as taxes are concerned, and the council's direction is keep going, keep driving them down. They want me to drive them down as deep as we can, and we're putting in every ounce of effort that we can put in to get there. One of the other things is that we're experiencing the fastest economic growth that the city of Everman has ever experienced, and I'm going to talk pretty in depth about that here in just a little bit. We've increased our transparency. I think we've done a pretty good job at increasing our transparency. We didn't used to, but we now live stream. This event today is being live streamed. All of our city council meetings are published on YouTube. If you miss something, you want to know what's going on in the city, I can assure you it's on the internet. It's there. There's no secrets. We don't like to meet behind closed doors. We don't want to hide anything from the public. We're all about public engagement. I've even heard city council at times say, hey, we want to hear public input on this. And unfortunately, we just don't get much. And I don't know why that is, because it's certainly not because we're not soliciting it. We want public involvement. We want to hear what the concerns are. We want you to share your vision with us so that we can make sure that the vision that we decide on is a shared vision for the community. And then recently we received some recognition for some regional excellence. So the projects that we're doing with our partnerships, it's not only proving to be successful here, but it's being recognized by others outside of Everman and Forest Hill and the partners that we're working with. The COG is recognizing it. Other agencies are recognizing it. We are getting calls now frequently about, hey, how did you guys regionalize this? What were the steps moving forward? And we're being asked to consult with others about how we're able to achieve these things. And so that's a pretty good mark for us as a city, that what we're doing is not only working for us, but it's setting a model that others may want to follow. So I want to talk about Tarrant County growth. Tarrant County is currently the 15th most populous county in the U.S., and it's the third in the state. There's forecasts that were just published recently where Fort Worth is anticipated to surpass Austin. That's pretty impressive. DFW is has the fastest population growth in the country. There's about 278 people that move to DFW every single day. When you take that projection and you do the math, that's more than 1 million people flowing into our region in the next 10 years. I tell you this to say that growth is coming. Whether we like it or not, growth is coming. Development is coming. Residential, commercial, it's coming. And we as a city have to be prepared for that and try to make the best decisions that we possibly can when we have opportunities to make those decisions. And we have to try to make sure that we are ahead of the curve as much as possible. One of the downsides to working in municipal government, and almost anybody in municipal government or even county government will tell you this, is that government is always retroactive to development. Development has to steer where the government goes. When you want a street improvement project, how many of you have driven down a beautiful 6-lane street with nothing on either side? It doesn't happen. The development has to come in first. That development generates revenue for the city to turn around and reinvest back into the infrastructure on the water lines, the sewer lines, the road improvements. So it's always backwards, and what does that create? It creates a mess. It's ugly. It's unsightful. It's frustrating. It angers people. Now I've got to drive through a mess because we've got all this new development coming in and the roads are undersized. That's what we're experiencing now. We can't keep up the road maintenance because we've got so much development going on. We're having to forecast and do a lot of different things. Southern Tarrant County is also going to be a very large hub for this growth. A big chunk of the growth that's happening in Tarrant County is happening right here in and around Everman, Southern Tarrant County. It's blowing up. I don't know any other way to put it. It is just simply blowing up. We have a lot of development here. And that's good and bad. I want to talk tonight about several of the different developments and special projects that we've got going on. First off, I want to highlight the Noel Angel Alvarez Playground. This was a project initially that the city had pursued long before the case involving Noel. But we had actually pursued and were awarded a grant through the CDBG for about $89,000 to build an inclusive playground and expand it here at Pittman Park. When the case of Noel happened, the mayor proposed and the council unanimously supported him in this decision to name the park after Noel. When that was done, we had people coming out of the woodwork to donate to add improvements to what was already planned. So this went from being a $90,000 grant to about a $150,000 project, all funded through grants and donations that now provides the inclusive playground that we have over here known as the Noel Angel Alvarez Playground. So that's been a great addition to our park. It's allowed for growth in our park, and we hope to be able to even add some more to that in the future. We've got a couple things in the works that we're trying to work out to see if we can add some more there through grant funding too. Master drainage study. This is a big one. And I know for many, it's just a piece of paper. But when you work on our side and you strive for 5 years to get to a point of just getting a study, getting this study done was a big, big milestone for us. And through that study, it actually revealed quite a bit. That study was able to identify 4 problem areas. There is a presentation on the study. It's available on the city website. I'm not going to spend all night talking about the study because we've already gone down that route. Happy to share the link with you if you want to do it, or I'm happy to speak to you offline, but I do want to cover a couple of highlights. The study covered identified 4 major problem areas. Of those 4 problem areas, each one had potential solutions. And then the engineer was able to identify which solution they were recommending to go with in order to bring everybody out of the flood zone. Well, as you can see, the total funding to achieve this project well exceeded our expectations. $37.7 million to do that. City doesn't have that just sitting around in a bank account. So that means we have to go after funding opportunities. What this study did is it opened it up and it gave us the information and the data that we needed as a city to start pursuing those funding opportunities through the Texas Department of Emergency Management, through the state, through federal opportunities. What opportunities are out there that we can start pursuing these funds for? And we now have the study and the engineering information to back those applications up. We started trying to pursue mitigation funding before, but unfortunately, the federal government and state government will tell you, we're not funding anything until you get an engineering study done. And it took us 5 years to get this done. And the only reason we were able to get it done was thanks to the county stepping up and helping with grant applications and managing that grant for us. So we're very thankful to the county for doing that and getting this project moving forward. We also were able to expand on that study with the Regional Transportation Council. And I'll talk about that one here in just a minute. The study also identified several next steps. What are our next steps? Well, the first next step is to develop a drainage capital improvement plan. Drainage capital improvement plan is about 5 to 10 year plan. What projects do we need to plan on achieving in the next 5 to 10 years? It includes the projects and potential funding sources. Our current CIP doesn't include any drainage projects at all. So that's going to be a big task for our Planning and Zoning Commission this next year, is working with engineers to develop a CIP that has those drainage projects in it. We have to identify potential funding sources, and those may be traditional funding sources such as bonds, grants. One potential funding source that we're looking at, and if you're not paying attention, pay attention to this part, please. One potential funding source that we're looking at is the implementation of a stormwater utility fee. What is a stormwater utility fee? Well, a stormwater utility fee is a fee that would be assessed on every resident's water bill, where that fee would go to a restricted fund, and that fund could be expended solely on projects identified in the capital improvement plan. Why am I asking you to pay attention to this? Because it's a topic that's being discussed right now amongst the council. In the budget, we are proposing that the engineers look and do the study that would be required to implement a stormwater utility fee and to determine what rate would need to be assessed on the water bill in order to achieve those projects. I can assure you, because the council has already asked, they said, we want heavy citizen feedback on this before we make a decision. We want to know what the citizens want from this. Are all citizens wanting to participate in a stormwater utility fee? This is one of those opportunities where I say, we want your feedback, we need your feedback. The council is going to be contemplating a decision on this, likely 7 to 8 months from now, and they're going to want to know what you think about it. Do you support it? Are you against it? Is it a problem? Where do you stand on this issue? Because nobody likes, as a city, from our side, we don't like making decisions and then hearing afterwards, oh, that wasn't a good one. Most people didn't like that decision. This is going to be one of those. So the council is actively seeking input on this. So keep that in mind and keep an eye out for that. The last next step was a letter of map revision that would be submitted. So through the study and several of the projects that we have been able to do with our public-private partnership is everybody knows about the industrial park that was built right over here, not the city of Everman, but the industrial park that was built over here. City staff worked pretty closely with that developer to try to increase the the size of the detention ponds that they were building on that property. Why did we want them to increase it? Well, we didn't want them to just meet the standard. We actually wanted them to try to pull water back if they could. And they agreed with us. They were happy to support us. And through this study that identified that public-private partnership actually did a lot of good and pulled 101 properties out of the floodway alone without the city having to expend a single dime on stormwater improvements. So public and private partnerships are key when we talk about funding for stormwater projects like this. Another big project that's coming, and I'm hoping to get some claps or some cheers or something out of this one. So the city of Fort Worth has agreed to work with us, and we partnered together for an application for a grant called the Everman Safe Streets Project. So this project has been approved and recommended for funding by the RTC and the COG for $7.4 million. It is going to require a match that the cities in Tarrant County both have to contribute, and the total project is going to cost about $9.3 million. This will provide a network of sidewalks that lead from Pittman Park all the way to Everman High School and around, and from Oak Grove Road all the way to Rendon Road to provide a safe space for our kids that are walking to school off of the roadway. We do not have that today. This is the exhibit that's attached with the application that's been approved and where the sidewalks are going to be placed. It'll be a mix of sidewalks and what we call shared use paths. Shared use paths are very similar to sidewalks, but they're usually about 10 to 14 feet wide so that we can accommodate for bicycles and things that are off system. Get them off the roadway, allow them a safe opportunity to travel, and just make it safe for everybody involved. I didn't hear a single clap. We worked hard on this project. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That will run down Shelby Road. I don't know about both sides, but I think they're looking at a shared use path on one side because of the right-of-way width. But yes. All the way down. All the way down. All right, let's talk about Wichita Street. So Tarrant County did a bond package a couple years ago, and every time Tarrant County does a bond package, one of the cool things with our partnership with Tarrant County is they always look to solicit partnerships with cities. And our commissioner for this precinct wanted to focus heavily on Wichita Street. I'm hoping to get some claps out of this one too, although the majority of this project actually isn't even ours. But everybody thinks part of Wichita, especially the part right here in Fort Worth where you've got to dodge the potholes, that is in Forest Hill and that is in Everman. But everybody blames Forest Hill or Everman for it, and we get it all the time. But Wichita Street is actually getting ready. This project is more than 90% complete on development plans. And so we're moving forward and getting ready to kick off construction. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be ugly for a while, but I think you're going to like the end result of this. So this project is actually going to widen Enon to 5 lanes, so essentially 2 northbound, 2 southbound, and 1 central turning lane. It's also going to provide for a network of sidewalks and shared use paths along the roadway as well to get that pedestrian traffic off the road. All too often we get complaints about pedestrians walking up and down Wichita, and a lot of times they're forced to walk on the road because there's nowhere else for them to walk. So this is going to get those pedestrians off of the roadway. This is going to go from Interstate 20 all the way down to just south of Roy C. Brooks. The intersection at Roy C. Brooks, if you've ever gone to that intersection and you feel like you've got a crick in your neck because you're trying to go north on Wichita and you've got to turn your head all the way back to see the traffic coming, they're going to fix that intersection and make it a 90-degree intersection as well. So we'll see improvements there too. Now, Forest Hill Drive project. So this is a stormwater and a street project. This is a very special and unique project. This is also a regional project that involves the city of Fort Worth, city of Forest Hill, and it has been managed and overseen by the Regional Transportation Council with COG. This project was really identified because we had some complaints that were coming in about Forest Hill Drive and it being undersized. Michael Morris, who's the executive director for RTC, doesn't actually live too far from here, and he decided to come take a drive and drive the thoroughfare. And when he did, he said, "We don't have a transportation problem because of development. We have a transportation problem today. We need to fix this now." And so he went back to the RTC and started petitioning for an expansion project of Forest Hill Drive, and that project has been approved and recommended for funding. So Regional Transportation Council is about to spend about $30 million in federal funds on widening of Forest Hill Drive from Lon Stevenson all the way down to Shelby Road. That widening will be somewhere between 4 and 6 lanes. We're planning to expand Forest Hill Drive to 6 lanes in front of where the schools are to allow for dedicated turn lanes. Along with those, the lanes, we're going to have a shared use path on one side, the side where the school is, and then we're going to have a sidewalk on the other side as well, because there's no sidewalks over there, and every single one of those kids walking to or from school have to walk on a road system of some kind. It's not safe for them. This project is also going to include 3 new traffic signals. One will be installed at the Uplift Academy. Another one will be installed at Forest Hill Drive and Enon, and another one at Forest Hill and Rendon Road. If you've ever tried to go northbound on Forest Hill Drive at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, this should make your drive a whole lot better and faster. We have seen traffic back up from Enon all the way past Shelby Road because of that stop sign there. So this will significantly improve traffic flow through there. It'll also significantly improve the safety. They're also going to, and I'm not talking bad, Mayor Birmingham, I promise, but they're also going to fix the traffic lights there at Interstate 20 and Forest Hill Drive. If you've ever gone or tried to get on the interstate there and you get stuck at one light or stuck in between the 2 lights because they're not synchronized, RTC's coming in and they're going to put in all new signals there as well and make sure that all of these lights throughout the entire thoroughfare are synchronized. So when you get a green light at Shelby, you should keep a green light all the way until you get onto the interstate. That's the goal. With this project, and this project has been really cool, and the reason why we call it a stormwater and a street project is because previously I talked about the flood study. One of the problem areas in there identified some issues with our bridges. We have 4 bridges, 3 of which are on Enon and 1 of which is on Forest Hill Drive. All of these bridges are currently undersized. RTC doesn't want to just expand the roadway and move on because that's not going to solve our flooding issue, and it's likely to contribute to it if we don't take some action. So Michael Morris has said that they're likely going to be funding as much into stormwater as they are into the street project. And they're going to be building new bridges for us. And we're working on even continuing these improvements potentially down Enon now. We're having them look at that as a potential second project outside of Forest Hill. So if this goes through and they are able to address these issues, that'll reduce that $37 million that I talked about for our flooding. That'll reduce that by $13 million. So this is a great project that's coming here. We're excited for it. If you noticed, we talked about Wichita and we're talking about Forest Hill Drive. You might be concerned, oh my gosh, can you imagine trying to get to 20 while these are happening? We are working to make sure that these do not happen at the same time. We are going to work to make sure that Wichita is done first, and then once that is done, then we will work on Forest Hill Drive. We don't want everybody to be stuck in Everman, although we've got some great restaurants. Tacos Oasis, if you get stuck here, by all means, feel free to swing by and grab you something. Next is our South Race Street rebuild. So this is a project that is funded both by street improvement tax dollars as well as Precinct 1, Commissioner Brooks' discretionary fund. He's agreed to help us out with this project. This project has been planned for a little while. We've been waiting, and this project has come into some delays that really weren't due to the city. One thing, and I've talked about this every year since we've had this, has anybody ever seen the city of Everman go in and repave a road, and then, a couple months after repaving a road, we're digging it up for a water line? It's happened a lot. I have vowed we will not do that. We do not want to do that. And so we've worked with our utility companies, Atmos, Encore. We've worked with our water sewer teams here to make sure that we want every utility along this thoroughfare to be addressed and fixed before we redo this road, because I do not want to go back in 6 months and have to dig this road up because of some water line issue or gas line issue that we were not aware of. So Atmos, water, sewer, all that work has now been completed. This project is going to start within the next few weeks, and we're hoping to have this we plan to have this project done before school starts. This project is occurring right there in front of Bishop Elementary, and the last thing we want is road construction going on at the first day of school. So the county does the work for us, and they have promised us that they will have this done before the first day of school. This is going to stretch from Enon Avenue all the way to Shelby Road, and we're working on this project now. Shelby Road and Everman Parkway improvements. So this is a new project that we are just kicking off and starting. If you're not familiar with government, we're slow. We don't move fast. It takes a long time to get something done. Agreed? Okay, that's government. That's not just Everman. That's just government. That's just the way it works. So we are starting this project now. The city of Fort Worth is looking as a part of their 2025 bond package at widening Shelby Road from Race Street all the way down to Rendon Road. What I proposed, because Shelby Road is actually the city of Fort Worth, what I proposed to them is, hey, can we partner with you as the city of Everman and improve it all the way through, including the small section of Everman Parkway that runs through Everman, and widen the whole strip and provide intersection improvements here included in your bond package, and the city of Everman will pay you back over a period of time as a part of your bond. So far, they've been agreeable to that, and we're working on design of that right now. So we are planning. I can't share any concepts with you yet because we just haven't gotten to that stage, but I can tell you as a part of the 2025 bond package, the city of Fort Worth will be proposing bond dollars to widen Shelby Road to 4 lanes, possibly 5 with a center turn lane if we can fit it in there because of the right-of-way width. If you've driven down Shelby Road, you're probably thinking it's not quite wide enough, and you might be right. So that's one of the issues that we're having to address is the existing right-of-way width. How much can we get in there? All of that will be handled by the engineers. I'm the farthest thing from an engineer. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I am. When they show me a picture, I tell them whether it looks pretty or not. So that's the plan there. One thing we're working on here rather quickly on, and this is a pretty urgent project because of a development that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, but Race Street, Everman Parkway, and Shelby Road. If you've ever driven through that intersection at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you've probably cussed quite a bit. The traffic delay there is astronomical. It's been a problem for a long period of time. One thing we're looking to do and we're trying to do right now is we are working to implement a new traffic signal there and have that installed before the start of school. We've been working with the North Central Texas Council of Governments. We've got a program identified to try to get this funded through, and we're hoping to have that done this summer. So if you see some construction going on out there here in the next couple months, that's likely what it is that we'll be installing a signal light there to alleviate much of the traffic backup. It's not going to alleviate all of it. The only way to alleviate all of it is expansions of the roads. That's going to take a while, but we're trying to get things improved now to get some relief over there from what already exists. Some of the other really cool developments that we've got going on is one of them is the Monarch Square Plaza. Some of you may have heard of this development that's happening here. This is going to be occurring right here on Race Street, just directly across from our Memorial Park. This is a commercial development that includes 12 retail suites, a restaurant, and a professional either office building or medical component. This project has already been, is it permitted? Is it permitted yet or just approved? Development approved? First phase, okay, first phase is permits have been approved, and we're expecting them to break ground any day. These 12 retail suites that you see here, they can be combined. You can take 2 and turn them into 1 if they have a leasee that's maybe a larger vendor that wants to lease out both and convert it their build-to-suit. This will be great for the city of Everman. Great tax revenue, and then hopefully with the medical component, we're really looking forward to bringing the first medical center here in the city of Everman. Here's a concept photo of what the design is going to look like here. I'm seeing some shocked faces like, that's an Everman? So, yes, that's an Everman. Another development that's underway is the Everman Plaza. So this one's actually nearing completion. We're getting ready to do some inspections here in the coming months over there so they can start doing their leasings and openings. This is at the intersection of Forest Hill Drive and Enon Avenue. You've probably seen them build it behind the gas station there. This includes a 3,110 square foot liquor store that'll be in there, a new restaurant that's going to be a sports bar and grill, and then 4 retail suites that can be built to suit and have a larger vendor in there if they needed to. So this will be another great addition here. I love bringing restaurants. Sorry, I love your food, Richard, but I like variety too, so it's great to get something different here in the city. Another development is the Legends of Hannah Ranch subdivision. So this is a 202 home subdivision. If you don't know that this is happening, I encourage you to go outside every now and then, see what's going on. These homes are nearing completion. This project is getting pretty close. I think they're about 80%, 90% complete with homes over there. So it's a new subdivision right off of Royce C. Brooks, south of Bell Street. It's 202 homes. The properties are selling anywhere from the high 200,000s up to the mid 300,000s. It has provided some new streets for us over there, and they've got some nice amenities there within the community too, including a dog park, some nice walkways, and some water retention that was provided over there. That water retention, we worked with that developer to do the same thing we did with the industrial park. They're actually holding back more than what the minimum requirements is, which also helped alleviate some of our flooding issues along the North Fork. Timberview Farmstead. Timberview Farmstead is currently not a city project. It's actually a county project, but we're working with them on potential development and annexation. So we're looking at the city possibly growing and including them and providing them with necessary infrastructure services. Timberview Farmstead's a great program. So they provide a lot out there. I'm not going to be the professional stand up here and tell you every single thing that they do, but their main philosophy has been is that they really want to engage with the youth, and they want to bring youth back to grassroots. They really want to teach trade type activities to our youth. They want the youth to engage with animals. They want to teach them how to farm, how to hydroponically grow plants, how to self-survive. So there's a lot of great opportunities for the youth. If you have an opportunity, I really strongly want to encourage you to go visit their website. Better yet, if you've got a couple of hours, just go by. Go by and check it out. It is absolutely beautiful. Yes, ma'am. So I will tell you, they are working with not only Everman High School, but they're working with several different independent school districts on some of those programs. Specifically, they actually have a charter program too, where they provide some direct educational opportunities there too that we're working with. So it is, again, I'm not the professional stand up here and tell you every little thing that they do, but it's impressive. And it is absolutely beautiful. If you really get the chance to go by and just visit, they're happy to give you a tour. They're happy to engage. They're looking for people. They're looking for volunteers. If it's just something you want to go do on your spare time and go out and help feed some animals and engage in some agricultural work, they'll take you. It's a great, great opportunity. All right, let's talk about a big one that's been a topic of discussion here recently, and that's McDonald's. Yes, we are getting a McDonald's. So let me clarify a couple things, because I am 100% aware that this has gone, well, for Everman level viral on Facebook. A couple of different things that have gotten posed on this was, why did the city let this happen? Well, we need to fix the streets first. We need to do this first. Let me explain that this project was, not solicited by the city of Everman. It's a built-to-right project. A property owner owned commercial property and sold it to McDonald's. McDonald's is building. The city doesn't have the authority to come in. Can you imagine if us as a city could come in and tell you that, hey, I don't want your house there anymore, I'm going to put something else there? The city doesn't have the authority to unilaterally decide how developments are built. Hold on, give me a few minutes and I'll get to you. How these developments are built. This development is a build by right. It was already zoned appropriately for commercial development. And one of the great things about this project is what it's going to bring in the future, and that's really what I want to highlight. A lot of the things that I don't think people understand is that McDonald's, a $182 billion company, they know what they're doing. I'm not going to stand here and tell a $182 billion company they don't know what they're doing. They are often an anchor point for future development. If you look at the intersection of Everman Parkway and 35, if you look at the intersection of Forest Hill Drive and Interstate 20, McDonald's are almost always the first to swoop in and come. Following McDonald's follows others. This is great for a community that lacks commercial development, that is seeking to reduce property tax levels and needs to desperately increase sales tax opportunities for the city. We don't have the ability to come in and unilaterally decide what people can and can't build. We do have the ability, if they're going to move forward with a rezone, if they want to request a zoning change, if they want to request a major replat, they're going to take several properties and change it into something different. That is when the city has an opportunity to come in and say, oh, we're not sure we want to do that. This is a build by right. This is a single property. I think it required one minor replat just to move it, divide it. Again, Again, no issue, no approval needed by the city. This is a build by right. One of the great things this triggers for us is anytime we get development, like I mentioned a little bit ago, cities, governments are always behind development. Development always outpaces cities. This actually puts us on a focal point, and one of the big reasons why we're moving forward quickly with trying to get Shelby Road expansion complete, trying to get Ray Street intersection improvements, trying to get a traffic light there. It opens up the door for us. So although I know that in looking at the Facebook post, it is kind of funny. I see, well, what about a Starbucks? What about this? What about that? So it's not so much that we don't want development there. It's more, you just don't want a McDonald's there. Well, this is Texas. We're a free enterprise state. People can build what businesses they want and open them up when they want, when it's allowed, and this is allowed. But I think if we look at the bigger picture and we understand that McDonald's are often anchor points for future development, we talked about, reading through some of the social media posts, talked about a need for a grocery store. We talked about a need for pharmacies. There was talk about need for other variety. If you want that, we need this. We've got to have that anchor point for future developments and squares. No, there's no 380 agreements, there's no subsidy, there's nothing. McDonald's, a private company, bought a private piece of property and said it's commercially zoned, it's built by right, I want to build a McDonald's. The city says it's in the books, you're not violating anything, permits approved, that's all we can do. No different than if you were to go buy a residential piece of property somewhere and want to build a house, the city can't come in and tell you you can and can't build that. We can regulate it to what standard it's built. We can make sure that it is built and we can work with developers, but we can't say you can't build this. That's just not how that works. So we strive really hard. I think this is going to really put I think it's going to be a kickstart for us, quite frankly, for all the undeveloped land that's pretty close and nearby to it, to bring and attract some other developments to come in. The developments that I think many of you want, the grocery stores and the Starbucks. I'm not a Starbucks guy, but the Starbucks, whatever it is, this is going to attract those other opportunities and provide some great growth for the city. Yes, ma'am. You know, I don't know. So. With them, I can't answer that question. I don't know. Again, that as a city, we don't have that ability to do that. Private owner buys a private piece of property, build by right, they're allowed to build. Texas is a free enterprise state. We're very much so a property rights state. There's not anything the city can do. When I mentioned earlier about developments coming, it's coming. Whether we like it or not, we have to try to manage it and improve what we can around it as best as we can.
I'm going to say something really disrespectful here, but that's the stupidest ass place to put a McDonald's.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can see why McDonald's would try to come in and swoop on that piece of land. They're targeting a lower income community. That's just what's happening. And I know that you're saying that that's an anchor point, but traditionally, McDonald's doesn't necessarily always bring the best businesses. I mean, we want to be Forest 2.0. That's the kind of business that they bring over. And like I said, I got some.
Well, when we're talking about development, if you want to compare sales tax revenues from the city of Forest Hill versus sales tax revenues from Everman, that's a dramatic difference, and it allows for great opportunities. So.
I mean, I get that, but what I'm trying to get at is do we want, another Burger King, another Whataburger, and all this stuff when already,
Sure. So I think you're partly on the right path. Advocate absolutely for what it is that we need, and we do that. We talk with private business owners a lot about, hey, this is what we need, this is what we would like to see. And hearing your voice behind ours is absolutely amazing. We need that. When we talk about Everman being a food desert, and it's not just Everman, this region is struggling with a food desert. That's been a topic of conversation amongst both city councils, city of Kennedale and Tarrant County down here for quite some time. As a matter of fact, that's actually why the Everman supermarket opened, was because he was trying to meet a need and agreed to get something going here for our community. He went out on a limb. He said, I've never operated a grocery store before. I've never done it, but I see that there's a need. We're not getting anything else coming in. Let me try it and let's see what happens. And so he's been trying to fill a need while we've been voicing this concern for years. And so again, this development, along with many other developments, we work with developers all the time to try to attract the right businesses that you're talking about, the ones we need. The medical services building, additional restaurants, better entertainment. Where is something for our kids to do here? What can our kids engage in here that we can attract? Those are the kind of conversations we have all the time. And we bolster that as much as possible. Getting your voice behind us and doing that is amazing. What we can't do is we can't go and say, well, because I want this, I'm not going to allow you to build that. It's a property right state. That's where we're at. So our hope with this is that it will become an anchor point that we can turn around and we can attract other businesses that we do want in the city to come in and build nearby, because it's going to be an anchor for them. That's what we're trying to do. I 100% understand your point. I highly doubt that. It won't be before school starts. Yep. That's going to be a few years out. It's going to be a while. Yeah.
So our traffic is gonna be terrible forever in the four corners. I live on Smith, and oh my gosh,
Sure.
I try to get off on Shelby, and I sit there for 10 minutes on my street to get on Shelby during school district. And
Yeah.
I know everybody knows this.
Yeah, the traffic congestion there is one of the reasons why we're trying to move as quickly as we can on getting the traffic light in there to help manage that and improve that in the interim until we can widen Shelby. So I 100% understand. We did after being notified that this was coming, we went out and did a traffic survey over there. Happy to share those results if you want to see them. We can share those results with you. I think they were published on our website. I can't remember, but there's nothing secret about the traffic congestion over there. That's been the justification on trying to improve transportation through there. Barbara, yes. Barbara? I believe their design called for access off both.
There's gonna be fender benders all over, so to speak. Nobody can get by.
Again, I understand the concern, but the engineers are looking.
There is a lot, you're gonna have people stopping to turn, and people are gonna, they're not used to it.
Right. No, I understand your concern. I do. I'm sorry? Commercial, C1 commercial, which include, yes, it does include restaurants. Yes. Yes, sir. Cannot. No. Yeah, can't. Unfortunately, we can't. That's part of the city's struggle. That's part of every city's struggle, and government as a whole. Is that when developments come in, we've got to. No, I understand. That's why we're trying to move as quickly as we can to get what we can achieve before it does come in. But we can't force a property owner to not move forward with a business. We just can't. Well, pausing. I mean, we can't do that either. Yes, ma'am.
Since the McDonald's is gonna impact traffic, can we require them to put some bills in that intersection?
There is local government authority to implement what's called a transportation impact fee on new developments. Unfortunately, the city of Everman does not have a transportation impact fee implemented. The reason why we don't implement a transportation impact fee is because, if you recall, we talked about Everman has the highest property tax rate in all of Tarrant County. It's pretty hard to go to businesses and attract businesses when you're saying, hey, I want you to come and build a $3 or $4 million facility here, when they can go across the street to the city of Fort Worth and get a 70-cent tax reduction just by moving across the street. Hold on. Just by getting a tax reduction. So, I'm sorry, I got thrown off track. What was the question? Oh, the transportation. So the city of Everman over the years has elected not to implement a traffic impact fee on new developments in hopes of trying to attract the developments that we want to come here to Everman. We already have water sewer impact fees. If we had traffic impact fees, we have the highest tax rate in all of Tarrant County. I don't know a business, one, that's going to want to look at that and then look, well, if I go 2 blocks away, I'm in a whole nother city with a different tax rate. I can build there. That doesn't benefit us. That actually sinks us as a city. So the city has elected to not pursue transportation impact fees because of that. So without a transportation impact fee, we can't go to McDonald's and say, you have to pay for intersection improvements here. That's how that gets done. What we can do is we can always ask. And that's a conversation that's ongoing with McDonald's about asking for funding. Hey, would you be willing, because you're coming in, you're causing this impact, would you be willing to help fund some intersection improvements? Would you be willing to fund this? They're working with us on trying to do some improvements there for drainage. I mean, we're trying everything we can to work with them, and most developers are willing to work to an extent as long as they get a return on their investment. Again, it's a business, right? They went into business for a reason. It's a $182 billion business. That's why it's hard for me to stand here and tell anybody that they don't know what they're doing. They're a $182 billion business. They're doing something right. Sorry, hang on just a second, Chappie. Yes, ma'am.
I got 2 questions. Number 1, are they going to be doing some sort of environmental impact report, or are y'all, I mean, I'm just thinking about all the trash that's like this is going in the wind. I'm just thinking about all the debris, dirt, everything that's going to be going out through the sewages that y'all are saying they're also going to try to, assist with. I mean, that's all little stuff to,
Sure.
consideration, especially since you have housing that it's going to be.
So every new build has to go through all of those check boxes, including environmental impact, greenery space. They have to comply with the codes that are set, and our codes are actually set by our Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. This is what they have to comply with. This is where the needs have to be met. We use a third-party review system, meaning that all plans that come in actually go out to a third party. We contract with Bureau Veritas. Bureau Veritas inspectors review every plan that comes in for compliance with not only our codes, but also international building codes, international fire codes, international electrical codes, plumbing codes. There are so many permits that have to get pulled on this that they have to comply with. So it's a stringent process to get a commercial building built and to get through that permit process. Chief, did you have something to add there? Or? Yeah. And those ordinances include, and I'm going to let you ask your second one too, but those ordinances include, light pollution. Which direction are their lights going to be facing? We don't want them facing because they're abutting residential. We don't want them facing and going off their property. They're required to put up an entire screening wall that screens not only sight but sound as well. So we've worked with them on a lot of those things. We do have some pretty stringent requirements they'll have to comply with. What's your second one?
All right, so can I ask like two-part question, right? The other part is, if we're gonna be dealing with this coming in, et cetera, would they also be willing to, I guess, like sponsor scholarships for kids down the street that they do have those opportunities? And would they also be willing to at least make it some sort of environmentally friendly or sustainable? Because I've seen McDonald's that work with the environment and make sure to minimize the impact.
Both amazing questions that I don't have the answers to, but I am willing to go ask, and I will. I will. Okay. Let's get some benefit out of it. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you on that. Those are very good points. I'm going to move on because I don't want to spend all night talking about McDonald's. But again, like I said, we're going to be here. You have more questions. I'll stay here all night if we got to talk all night. Some other great things that are happening in the city, not necessarily developments, but other good things is if you've ever been on our website, you may have cussed. You may not have liked it. Our website is not the greatest. About 5 years ago, the city made a switch to a different website firm, and that transition was horrible. There's even, if you go out on Google and you search Everman, there's even some old links where you can even still find the old website. No idea why. Can't tell you why. Neither can our website company, apparently, because we can't get it fixed. So we've decided to go a completely different route. We're going with a firm this next year called MuniCode. MuniCode also manages all of our agendas. We use them for other services too, to develop a new website that is specifically designed for municipal governments, that is specifically designed to allow you ease of access of navigating our website. Our website's horrible. It's a pain to navigate. Our staff hates it because trying to put anything on our website is a pain. And if you're not a website designer, you're not going to do it right, and you're probably going to mess it up. So it's been a pinch point for us. Mayor Pro Tem Mackey has led the charge on complaints of our website for the last couple of years. So we're pretty excited about this change. We're in the design phase right now of updating our website to try to make it as user-friendly as we possibly can for you, and to make sure that we're getting all of the information out to you in an easily navigable form. Another good program that we are getting ready to launch, if not already getting ready to launch any day, is our permitting portal. So our permits have always been traditional formats, meaning that you have to come in, you have to submit a form, likely you have to submit paper copies. We are implementing an online platform to be able to do all of this, track the progress of your permit, put it out there. It also allows for the public to be able to go out and see, hey, what permits are being applied for, what's being built. It opens up a lot for us. Garage sale permits, you can't get a garage sale permit in the city of Everman unless you come up in person and visit. It's the only way to get a garage sale permit. We'll be able to process permits, all permits online now, making it accessible to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can apply for a permit at any point in time, and you can track the progress of that permit as it goes. So that's another big step for us too. Everman City Guide. So we actually have a new mobile app. If you haven't seen, we've tried to push this out via social media, and we have signs in City Hall trying to advertise this. We have a new mobile app. You can scan this QR code. It'll ask to add it to your desktop if you want to add it. It's a great resource for you, and I'll leave this up when we're done, so if you want to come by and get it afterwards, you can. One of the cool features on there that many people are starting to take advantage of is the report a problem feature. If you're driving around and you see a pothole, or 10, that you want to report, by all means, open that app, hit that report a problem, tell us where it is, what's going on. You can send a picture of it. If you've got a code enforcement complaint, you want to attach a picture of it, send us a code enforcement complaint. You got a street light out that you want us to report for you, send us a street light that's out, get it taken care of. Whatever your problem is, get it through this report a problem, and it gets sent to the appropriate department to either be handled or planned for addressing or looking at. So it's a great way if you don't want to have to make a phone call. You don't want to wait for a city council meeting to come talk to council. You don't want to come down in person. You're on your way to work. Don't do this while driving. Maybe you're in the passenger seat on your way to work and you want to report something. It makes it quick and accessible for you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here to tell you the report a problem piece works. When I'm driving around, potholes drive me crazy. And so I'll pull over, take a picture, I'm zapping on my phone, off the picture goes. I check back next couple, 3 days, that pothole's filled. People park really strangely and obstruct traffic. I'm taking pictures of this
There's also some other cool features in there too. So it talks about some of our, we really try to just have the highlights on this app. It's not our full website. But if you want to go to the City of Everman's YouTube channel and watch the last meeting, it's on there. You want to see our agendas for council, they're on there. You want to see some local events that are going on, they're on there. Check out some local businesses. If you're a business owner in Everman and you want to be featured on here, by all means, there's a spot on the app. Go on the app, send us an email there, send us your logo. We're happy to feature you on here too because we want to support our businesses here. So, anything that's quick and easy, that's easily accessible for you, this app's a great tool for you. And I'll leave this up at the end here in just a few minutes. We've also had some meeting changes. So the City Council, because we've got so many regional collaborations, we're working with so many other cities. We're working with the ESD, so many other partnerships. For some reason, first and third Tuesdays seem to be the most popular. And so that has strained staff on trying to be in all the places that we need to be while also being here at City Council. And so we've actually changed our meeting dates for the City Council. So now City Council meets on the second and the fourth Tuesday of each month, right here, 6 p.m. I will tell you the meeting for this next week has been canceled. Only because we're about to go into budget. We're meeting every week in July anyway. So this meeting on the fourth Tuesday this month's been canceled. But traditionally, second and fourth Tuesday of every month, 6 p.m. right here. If you can't be here, log on to YouTube. Watch it. Stay up to date on what's going on. We're also trying something new. So the City Hall has now changed our operating hours. We are on a 4-day work week. So we are open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. One of the biggest complaints that Edna was fielding a lot is typically when we get close to water bill due date, we have people who are standing outside City Hall trying to get in at 8 o'clock, and they were supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock, and they work 8 to 5. They can't get by here to pay. And maybe they don't have the ability or the means or the desire to want to use the online. We have a lot of citizens that prefer old school, come by and visit, and I love that. Come by, visit, pay your water bill. We're okay with that. We love that. But it makes it really hard for those people that work 8 to 5. So we had a pretty strong desire from the citizens to want to change that a little bit, add some flexibility. And we're not the first ones to do this. City of Forest Hill actually changed some hours to add some flexibility, and they've had some great feedback from it. Several other cities have changed this. The other thing that we wanted to do is because, and this isn't any surprise, but our salaries in Everman for our employees are lower than the average. We have a hard time attracting quality employees and keeping them and maintaining them. Well, if I can offer to an employee a 4-day work week versus a 5-day work week, that tends to bring some credibility here, and it tends to attract more higher quality employees that want to work those 4 days versus 5 days. And so now my retention is up, I'm saving money, and it's not costing the city anything more. As a matter of fact, we think that this change is actually going to save the city dollars through the utility usage and electricity usage by going from a 5-day to a 4-day work week. So there's a lot of benefits and pros to this. We're trying this for a 3-month period. We're going to try it out for 3 months. We're gauging both feedback from employees as well as feedback from citizens. If you have concerns or want to give us your feedback, we're open to it. Let us know what works better for you. I will tell you, we've had people coming in after 5 o'clock that have been appreciative of it. We've had some people there before 8 o'clock that have been appreciative of it. So far, I think the feedback we've gotten from both employees and citizens has been leaning positive, and we hope it stays that way, and we'll see where it goes. And then lastly, just make sure to stay connected. We're on Facebook. We have several different Facebook pages. The City of Everman, Everman Emergency Services, Tarrant County Regional Dispatch, Everman Economic Development, Municipal Animal Services. Like and share them all. Particularly our municipal animal services. They need some love. We need to get some love on that page. That's a great way you can help volunteer right now if you wanted to help out our municipal animal services, is like and share that page and try to draw attention to it. It's hard to say no to a cute face. And so as people are scrolling through their face, they like and share it, they might see a cute face that they want to come and adopt and save an animal. So please share that. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know when they're going to start the municipal animal services?
The what?
The building, when they're going to start the new?
I don't yet. So what I can tell you is we've already got concept design done. We are completing the grant application to submit. However long it takes the U.S. Department of Agriculture to Agriculture to review that grant and tell us whether or not we're approved. Once we know that we're approved, the cities will work together to go and allocate the difference and make sure that we get it funded. I will tell you that this is very much a priority for our council. That will be the next building that we build. Whether it's funded through this or some other means, I'm pretty sure council is going to, well, I can tell you the Animal Control Advisory Board has already told me, find a way to make it happen. So that's my direction. That's what we're working to do and achieve right now. Yes, ma'am.
Are we gonna do anything in between time until that's approved? Because the animals are steady getting put down.
Well, they're not steady getting put down. I mean, our
Yes, they are.
okay.
Those pictures on the page, you go up there, they're getting put down. That's another thing that's not being said.
Okay, I don't, they're not steady getting put down. We do have to, okay,
I call and he tells me he has
again, very transparent. We'll tell you when we have to put animals down, but our live release rate is well above 80%. 80%. 80% of the animals that come in here, that's our live release rate. So that is higher, listen to me, hold on, listen to me. That is higher than most, okay. That is higher than most others, and it's actually significantly higher than what it used to be, especially when you factor in the two cities together. It is higher. So, agreed. I will agree with you. Sure.
Now, as far as still just added on to it and
Sure.
9 kennels.
No, I,
It's
I,
steady growing and developing, as you just
yes, ma'am. I know. Let me explain. Let me address it. Completely understand. Okay. Well, I need to address it, right? I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Let me address it. Completely understand. Wholeheartedly agree. Our shelter's undersized. I don't think there's anybody here in this room that will tell you, no, our shelter's big enough. It is absolutely not big enough. It wasn't big enough 10 years ago. Forest Hill had a need. We had a need. If we wouldn't have partnered with Forest Hill, it's likely that the outcome of these dogs would be much worse than what it is today. And so I think that's important to highlight, is that we are taking the best steps we can to provide that. We do have plans in the interim. I know that Public Works is working to add 3 to 4 more in the immediate future right now. I think they were out there just 6 more kennels right now to try to get there. So they've been working with contractors. Gilbert mentioned this to me today. Rudolfo, I'm looking at you, sorry. Do you know the timeline, just because she's asking, on construction of those additional 6 kennels? Okay. So, I mean, we're moving forward as quickly as we can. One of the, I can't see, I'm sorry. Say it again? No, it's not, yeah, no, we've got contractors, I mean, we're going to build the 6 additional. That's not the problem. The 6 additional kennels, one of the issues that we have to make sure that we're good with is that we have to comply with state standards and state inspection too. So we can't just come in and say, okay, we've put in 12 other kennels, because the state will immediately almost come in and shut us down. Every plan we do to change actually has to go through a state level first. Even the plans associated with the new municipal animal shelter, the state has to review those and approve them before we can even build it, because they have to say that it's compliant to state standards. So there's a lot of regulatory issues that go on here. I know that he talked about the funding today was $10,000 to do that, and I told him, yes, do what needs to be done. So we should see that project moving forward, the 6 additional here, pretty quickly. And as far as the shelter, I think that's a priority for nearly all of council, if not all of council, to get that addressed. So completely understand your frustration, and we don't like any animal being put down. Not our goal at all. But let me be clear too, we can have 300 kennels out there. If I have 300 kennels out there, well, now I've got to have enough staff to manage 300 kennels. Now I've got to have enough supplies to manage 300 kennels. That adds a higher burden here. That doesn't necessarily mean it's increasing the dog's survivability. One of the key things that we have to do, that Ray is trying so hard to do, is to get the word out. We need more adopters. We need rescuers. We're looking right now, one of the projects that he's proposing that we're going to take to council is the potential purchase of a mobile animal adoption trailer, something that we can quickly load up and take out 2 to 3 days a week if we needed to try to get these dogs out. That's a request that's going to go before the council likely during this budget season. So we are working on so many things to try to get that out, but it doesn't matter necessarily how many shelter or how many kennels we build. If we don't have a pathway out for these dogs, it's still going to be a loss. So there's two parts of this. One, absolutely city, we've got to build a shelter, we've got to expand on it. The second part is really we need more involvement. We need help. We need public involvement, public sharing, volunteers. We need the word spread rapidly about these dogs. Yes, ma'am.
So you talk about engagement as far as trying to spread the word. Have you all ever considered partnering up with some of us who have, like, some of us are influencers, we go to places around here where, and also like also podcasts and stuff like that, where we can try to not only get the word, but if we were to set up some sort of adoption event, maybe further up the Freckles Oasis or whatever, to do like tacos and dog adoptions and stuff like that, not only can we also get, stuff going where people can donate, like say pet bed, puppy pads, whatever food, right? But not only does it get the word, but it gets people excited, it gets more business and everyone involved.
So that guy right behind you, make sure to talk to him right after, please. No, but that is precisely that's what we need. And that's what Ray's trying to do. So keep in mind, Ray just came on board with us. And he's brought a lot. If you've seen every day, he started a new thing this last week where every day at the end of the day, he goes live on Facebook. He says, let me show you what I got. And he's going around trying to get information out that, hey, this is what we need. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because, I mean, tomorrow, some of my friends, they run a podcast called The Fun Panther. Guess what, they partnered with Panther Island Brewing over north of downtown Fort Worth. We have an adopt-a-thon happening tomorrow, and it's also gonna be like, hey, if you drop off pet supplies, first beer's on the house. Maybe it could be something, reduced taco special if you
Did I mention we're closed Fridays? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, no, I do. I 100%. I love it. Please talk to Ray right behind you. Let's work on that. I love that idea. We want to share that. Yes, ma'am.
If we're gonna take animals to adoption events, however we do it or wherever we go, those animals need to be spayed and neutered. The city
Sure.
does not spay or neuter any animals. They do not, don't tell me they do, even when they say they will, they do not. So we cannot charge an $80 adoption fee for an animal that is not spayed or neutered. The city has to step up and start spaying and neutering. One reason that the volunteers like myself have stopped doing that and stopped paying for it out of our own paycheck is because then they are euthanized. So we've got to get a system where these animals are spayed and neutered, then put up for adoption. We've got to make them appealing, and we've got to do the right thing.
Okay. I'm taking note of that. Yes, ma'am.
Heartworm, 'cause the dog I have now, she has heartworm. And Miss Anna had to find a rescue to sponsor me to even do the heartworm treatment. I mean, all these other shelters, they let you know if the dog's been spayed, neutered, or they get it done, or they let you know if they heartworm positive or negative. We're not doing any of that, and then, the adoption fee is $80.
Sure.
That makes no sense.
Sure. So I understand frustrations, understand we're coming from a bad spot. As I think both cities are coming from a bad spot as it relates to animal services. We're in a much better spot than where we were, and we're not stopping the work. We're going to keep working to improvement. I'm sorry?
We putting down more dogs than we were.
We're not. I'm telling you,
People that go to the shelter and talk to them, yeah.
I can tell you we are putting down much less.
And I can show you a lot of pictures of the ones.
Okay, but there's a difference. Let me clarify that. There's a difference between you're seeing it more because we're engaging more in higher transparency. That doesn't mean it's occurring more. It means that before there was next to no transparency whatsoever. There was no information shared whatsoever. Now it's because it's knowledge. People think it's happening more often. It's not. It's actually happening less often, but we're trying and pleading. That's why a lot of these posts that you see that, hey, this dog's on the red list. One of the volunteers actually approached me shortly after I became city manager and said, you guys have got to start telling people before you put dogs down. Because we weren't. We weren't telling anybody. They were just put down. There was no post. There was no alert. There was no code red list. She begged and begged and begged and pleaded to have a code red list. Please let me put this out because it might just drum up one last person, might be a last chance to save this dog. So now we do that. Well, because we do that, now it's been assumed that we're actually putting down more dogs than what we were, when that's not the case. We're actually trying to give one last ditch effort above and beyond what we were before to try to save these animals. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna argue a little bit with that because I've been close to this scene for 15 years. And we were told, don't use the words code red, do not use the word euthanize when you post these animals, don't do it. So I was the one that wrote these posts, that I couched the situation, I tried other ways to put it. And the fact is that I'm right there, and now we can say code red. Now we can say this dog will be euthanized on Friday if he's still there. Now we can say those things, and it helps, but I have been right there, and I do know that there is more going on than there used to be. And I'm not, I understand about space, and I understand you can't stack dogs the way past ACOs have done. And it created situations where people got injured, I understand that. But we've got to come up with a solution. I'm glad we're gonna do those 6 extra kennels. I hope that we break ground on that tomorrow. It would, I mean, seriously.
Sure, no,
It's gone on way too long, and we can't wait for a new facility to be built to start doing better by the animals in Everman. Now we're taking, of course, we've taken on the animals in Forest Hill. We've got 202 new houses being built. Half of those people will have animals. You know, we can just assume so. And the people that in the other developments that aren't technically in Everman, but they're gonna have animals that stray into Everman. That's another part of what comes with development, is more animals to be managed by a very, very small shelter that's way behind the times. We don't test for heartworm, we don't test for FIV and leukemia in cats, we don't have parvo tests. We've had a couple of parvo scares, and our ACO doesn't have tests to see if they're actually a positive. That's a city responsibility. If you think there's a contagious disease in a facility, test for it. You take the animal to the vet and test for it, not me finding someone to pay for it or pay for it myself. The city's responsibility to test for these contagious diseases. We're way behind the time on that.
yes.
Every other shelter has an ACO that can draw blood and test for these things. We need to get up to speed if we're gonna have all of this development and keep growing. We need to get with the times.
And I'm not going to disagree with you. We do need to get with the times. No disagreement with you there at all. What I am saying is we are better today than where we were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. We're better today now that Ray's here than we were before. We are making improvements, and we are doing everything we can to continue making improvements. I'm not disagreeing with you that we're not behind the times. We are absolutely behind the times. But we've been behind the times for a long period of time. This is no different than many of the other projects that we've had to address here in the city where everything has been behind. We're having to make up years' worth of work. And it's unfortunate that we can't just pull a trigger and have it happen overnight. I wish we could. Believe me, I wish if we had $10 million in reserves, I would solve all of our problems today. We just don't have that. We're having to build back up and get to where we need to be. But I think on the right path, and we keep pushing forward. I love your input. I agree wholeheartedly. I love your advocacy for them. We need that advocacy for them. I've got a couple of members of the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee that are here tonight too, hearing you talk, so that's great. That's important. So I agree with you. And municipal animal services is one of the priorities for budget this next year, along with, I know municipal animal services, I believe fire, what was the other one? There were two yours, utility billing and clerk. Those are areas we're looking at for trying to increase personnel, increase funding for operations. What can we do what do they need? I know for our city, fire, utility billing, court clerk, and municipal animal services are pretty much right there at the top. So we're with you. We agree with you. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, I'm about to continue. Did you?
I have just one question.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the event coming up.
Yes.
If we have enough volunteers, can we bring
Ray, can they bring dogs out to adopt dogs out at the Celebrate America Festival? We'll talk about it right afterwards, but I think we could probably arrange something. All right, last thing I got, stay connected to us. Website, Facebook, YouTube, mobile app. We'll be here. I'll be here as late as you want me to. I'll probably be roaming around a little bit. Come find me if you want to talk to me. I've got all the department directors sitting around. They're ready to talk to you. We want to hear from you. I really do appreciate it, everybody coming. Thank y'all.